Joining me now is Natalie Winters, co-host of Steve Bannon's War Room. Great to see you, Natalie. Now, the big exciting news over here in Australia is that our Prime Minister managed to get a phone call with Donald Trump. Whoa, finally. I mean, he's been to China. He was there for 6 days recently. His best mates hanging around the Chinese celebrations at the moment. We still haven't had a meeting between our Prime Minister and Donald Trump, but yes, a phone call. So, Natalie, what do you make of it? With your ear to the ground in the White House, what does Trump think of America, in your opinion? Of Australia, I mean, obviously.
Well, look, you guys have something that I think President Trump and our Defense Department has repeatedly shown, not just in their words, but through their actions, that we are extremely interested in, and that is rare earths and critical minerals, and particularly the processing. Australia is essentially the only, Western or basically non-Asian country that even has the capacity to do that. So I think that is something that there is definitely a strong convergence of interests over. Obviously, I think your current leadership maybe likes to welcome radical forms of migrants and refugees with a lot wider arms than we do. I hope, for your sake, President Trump can maybe talk him down on that front, ISIS brides or what have you. But I think particularly we are going to be able to find collaboration and partnership on the rare earth front, like we sort of already have.
Well, Natalie, you're absolutely spot on there. That does lead me to why you would need those critical minerals, apart from, obvious energy needs. But Donald Trump has renamed the Department of Defense to the Department of War. Now, this has obviously got the left all in a tiz, but is this Donald Trump just being pedantic about what the role is of this department, or is it more sinister than that?
Well, look, I've been told by the left for I don't know how many years that words matter, right? If pronouns matter, then I think we should correctly name our DOD into the Department of War. And I think to link this back to what we're talking about, even through the rare earth lens, right? This is not just rhetoric. You're actually seeing the action to back it up. And this is definitely a sort of unrestricted version of warfare that the Chinese Communist Party practices, right? It's not necessarily kinetic, it's in supply chains, it's in partnerships and alliances and taking over the third world. I think we've certainly seen that on the rare earth front, but I even think you've seen a lot of movement from our Pentagon in terms of shoring up these shortages of supply chains. Take the recent movement that they had on supplying the United States with cheap drones. That's an area that China outpaces us considerably and really is the forefront of modern warfare. You saw even the Mountain Pass mine deal, which was the first of its kind public-private partnership in that rare earth and critical mineral space. So I think you're seeing it on the action front. I think this is maybe just a lag time of a few months, but I definitely support it.
I agree with you wholeheartedly there. Now, Natalie, your parents would remember the Is Paul McCartney Dead storm that was created back in the late 60s, early 70s. Everyone had their record covers out to see what all the symbolism was, and had Paul McCartney died in a car crash, and it was very exciting stuff. Well, last weekend, the left replayed a rather macabre version of that with Is Donald Trump Dead? And they worked themselves up into an absolute fever spin about whether, or maybe 3 days no one had seen him. Does this mean he's dead? And quite disgustingly, I found, a lot of the tweets on the left, a lot of the social media posts were quite excited about the thought that Donald Trump might be dead, which just says all you need to know about the left. But what was it like in America? What did people in Washington make of this nonsense?
Well, look, I don't even have to go back to my parents. I remember 4 years of asking myself if Joe Biden is dead, and I think we got the answer on that front a little bit. But look, it's absolutely absurd. I don't even think these people wanted President Trump dead. They wanted President Trump killed and assassinated, like we saw multiple times, but especially the rhetoric on social media. But I think the funniest part of all this, obviously, President Trump is looking great despite the edited pictures that they're putting out. It was actually an interview that a White House correspondent for the Daily Caller did that morning, where President Trump talks about how he's going to put up a portrait gallery of presidents and how he was actually going to put a picture of the auto pen instead of President Biden. That was the evidence that people were pointing to say he's not dead, he's fully functioning. I guess it's wishful thinking on the left's part.
That's so funny. The auto pen up there in the portrait gallery would just be so good. Here's Donald Trump actually responding to the rumours of his demise.
I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape.
And then, Natalie, right on cue, Joe Biden has reappeared and he seems to be sporting some kind of head wound or other. Apparently, he underwent a procedure on skin cancer, I gather. But it's not a great look when they're calling, getting excited about apparently, Donald Trump being dead, and here's Biden looking like someone's taken an axe to his head at some point. What did you make of all this?
Well, and can I also just add that these same people who are pushing these President Trump conspiracy theories, how many years have they tried to censor us for being conspiracy theorists and spreaders of misinformation and spreaders of disinformation, right? Every single word in the book. And now they're literally saying something that is just objectively false, even subjectively false. Meanwhile, they have no curiosity, but it's not even just that they don't care to report on Joe Biden. They actively helped cover it up, and they're continuing to do so, right? President Trump and a couple of memes about his health get more attention from the press than just 4 years of Joe Biden running the United States of America by auto pen. It's absolutely ridiculous. And this double standard, I know we had all the mea culpas from the media saying how they were going to do their jobs better, but this President Trump incident with his health and pretending to be dead and all that stuff, it shows you they haven't learned their lesson. They're still motivated by extreme hatred of President Trump. And at the end of the day, if he were a Democrat, he'd be getting a lot more cover and coverage that's positive.
Absolutely. Natalie Winters, from co-host there of Steve Bannon's War Room. Always great to chat to you.